Hey everyone, and welcome back to Trevor Talks. Today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy 15, which starts off lamenting that this entry is one for fans and newcomers alike. But when you boil it down to its core gameplay and storyline, you'll find the experience is similar to Mystic Quest. Its simplistic plot and action-oriented gameplay delivers on what it says it's going to be, but it feels so uninspired and lacks the imagination you expect from Square-Enix's flagship series. I'm sure those unfamiliar with RPGs will get a kick out of this entry, but for those of us who have played them before, you might be disappointed in how vanilla this experience truly is. I know that first paragraph is going to turn a lot of you off, with you thinking I'm some kind of hater, but I'm really not. I was very excited to play this game. It looks amazing, and the graphics are truly something that everyone should behold. But as you get further along in the game, problems begin poking their ugly heads out, and no amount of polish can make me ignore fundamental problems with the game's design. For the story, you take on the role of Noctis, a young prince who decides to leave his kingdom behind for a little fun. His father, the king of Lucis, gives him the go-ahead, despite knowing that the peace treaty between them and the neighboring Niflheim could go wrong. Noctis is arranged to marry their princess, Lunafreya, so he decides to sow his wild oats on the road with his 3 friends and guards. Shortly after leaving, they break down in a small town only to discover soon after that their kingdom has been overthrown and their king is dead. In order to take the kingdom back, Noctis must journey to several hidden temples throughout the land in search of spectral weapons that hold the essence of past kings. Or something like that. Honestly, this part just gets very convoluted very quickly, leading to you taking on titans holding up meteors or taking on giant dragons and castles. You really spend the majority of the time reacting to events as opposed to understanding why you're on any given path. I really disliked Final Fantasy 13 for this very reason, and while the story seems simple and focused at first, it gets derailed and flies off into incomprehension very quickly. Not only does the game have a problem with weaving an understandable storyline, but it's also tone deaf. The gang jokes around and worries about inconsequential things the day after finding out that their king has been slayed and their nation is in peril. This makes your crew, which already feels like a group from an experimental Hot Topic ad, seem like they really don't care or aren't smart enough to fully understand the situation. As you probably already know, the developers wanted to go with a softer crew and keep it focused to just 4 main party members. I like this decision. Despite me enjoying the occasional new party member, it's refreshing. They each have their own skills ranging from photography, cooking, survival, and fishing, and that's what makes up the majority of their characters as well. Promptos, the weakest of the crew, focuses entirely on snapping random photos throughout your quest, while Ignis cooks meals and Gladiolus survives, I guess. Besides finding new recipes with unique temporary stat boosts, these skills don't really change the gameplay at all. If you're not into video game fishing, then you'll have no reason to really take advantage of Noctis's skill either. Promptus's random photo taking is, on the other hand, pretty cool. He actually captures moments in your gameplay and not only staged photos, which is a very innovative addition and makes me want to choose the best candid shots for our album of memories. For such a small, close-knit party, I was expecting some conflict within the group, but they spend the entirety of the game lightly ribbing and flirting with each other.
So, you think she'll call again soon?
Soon, huh? Not soon enough for you, lover boy.
Lover boy.
There was only one scene where one of the members gives a stern pep talk.
Calm the hell down.
Get off my back.
Are you a man of royal blood, or aren't you?
Outside of that, though, it's sunshine and lollipops for our kingdomless knights. You also have Gladios' sister coming on to you, which could be a conflict, but then that never goes anywhere either. To be honest, despite how much I dislike Final Fantasy 13's storyline, at least it got out of bed. Now, the actual gameplay is pretty fun. While I'm a big fan of turn-based RPGs, this game does a brilliant job of blending the best elements into an action-oriented experience. Basic attacks consist of strike and roll gameplay, where Demon Soul fans will feel right at home. Chaining combos together feels satisfying, and taking out a room of enemies with just your sword feels fantastic. When you do take a knock, the easiest way to heal yourself is through potions, which the game seems to have a stronger focus on than previous entries. Open your in-battle menu by holding the R2 button and choosing which potion goes to who. It's quick, but adds that chess-like strategy you like to see in these kinds of games. Sadly, the simplicity doesn't translate over to the magic in-game. Instead of having an MP meter like in previous installments, you now have flasks that hold on to 3 basic elements, fire, ice, and electricity, that you use to combine to make spells. In order to make a spell, you have to open the menu, combine these elements, and then equip them. Once you use one of these spells 3 times, it disappears from your weapons, making you have to reopen your menu mid-battle to replenish it. This is by far one of the worst ways to handle your magic system, and makes using spells a chore when you have to reload every 3 shots. You also have to wait to use spells, as there's a time delay across all of them. You can also make health spells, but considering the wait period and reloading, you most likely will just put your gil into large potion supplies. There's also no variety with your spells. It's just fire and fire spells. No holy, no shockwave or doomsday, just various levels of frost and lightning. I haven't seen a lazier attempt at a magic system since Quest 64. Even worse than the magic system, however, is the summon system. It is so frustrating to see a staple of the series get limited to what I can only describe as being completely random. Once you have access to a summon, you'll only ever see it when the game allows you to use them. When exactly and under what circumstances are you able to bring their awesomeness into the situation? Well, it seems like most only come around when you're about to lose a battle. In fact, the whole game is weighted against you losing in any battle. I only lost once, and that was to see what would happen. At any point, you can simply run from a battle, especially since you limp even after your energy has been depleted. In games with similar battle systems, Xenoblade, when you try to escape the creatures, they run after you, making your retreat very difficult. In 15, you can run outside of the fight area and the enemy group will just kind of forget about you, even though you're still in eyesight and you were the one who started it. You can instantly use a multitude of Phoenix down potions as well, meaning no battle will ever put you down as long as you have supplies. Another way the game is simplified for the worst is the customization of your characters. You don't find helmets or chest plates with particular effects anymore, but rather an all-encompassing attachments menu. You have an assortment of anklets and chokers for your emo crew to wear, but they can only wear between 1 or 3 of these accessories at a time. This is a gross simplification of something that has provided strategy in the past, but instead you'll most likely boost your HP as much as you can instead. There's also a way to change your clothing, but there's only 2 options, either the emo suit or some bro wear that'll make everyone at the frat party jealous. Why even include an outfit option when I can't find any new clothing? Even the adventure aspect of the game is limiting. When you first get out onto the open road, it's exhilarating. Look at this huge open map where I'll be able to run around and seek out new equipment and missions. Sadly, these roadways are nothing more than hallways in the look and shape of roads. Most of the time, you're unable to venture down into that canyon, as it's only there for looks. Or, there is a thing down there, but you have to drive there through a specific road or navigate a particular walkway. When the game does have open areas, this is where it gets really engaging. Your crew riding through forests on the back of chocobos is what pure adventure is. And it's a shame there's only a few areas where this is really possible, because man, those giant chicken horses are fun as hell to ride. But no matter what you try, the road either has a wall you can't jump over next to it, or some earthly barrier keeping you from cutting across the map. It would have been nice to forge your own path, but sadly you're stuck driving the vehicle, and you don't even really get to drive it. Instead, you're just accelerating on a laid out track, like a toy car on one of your childhood racetracks. Freedom is not the choice of going clockwise or counterclockwise, but the ability to jump off a cliff into a small river. I did enjoy having a crossing of buffalo-esque creatures stop me on my path, so maybe that's worth your hands ultimately being tied. But these designated paths destroy the freedom of a convertible in the open road. I wish I were done with my complaints, but despite all that, there's still bugs in this game. You interact with objects in the world using the same button as jump, and you'll feel so stupid anytime you go to activate a switch, but instead just keep jumping next to it because the game won't register the event. There's no controller mapping, even though I can think of much better ways to lay it out so I won't face this problem. The camera system also feels like a forgotten element entirely, getting stuck in bushes and walls in almost every battle. Sometimes battles will just end despite enemies still being there. Pixelated glitches fill the screen mid-battle. Characters' dialogue sometimes gets snipped off way too early.
Gotta follow your gut sometimes.
Yeah, we'd be lost.
Let's do it.
Aren't we eager?
Reflection effects literally glitch out, destroying the horizon. There's just so many shortcuts and weird decisions made here. I wonder what the 10 years of development was really for. It's like I keep giving the game concessions on making an easier experience for newcomers, while the game gives up on key traits for the series to focus on nothing in particular. This doesn't feel more focused, it simply feels lazy. It's beautiful, no doubt about it, but it doesn't retain any of the elements that made me fall in love with the series. Its choices are based on convenience rather than building a world. I guarantee you, seeing Coleman and cup noodle product placement in my Final Fantasy game doesn't whisk me away from the real world. Simply put, Final Fantasy 15 doesn't feel originally inspired, and after 10 years of development, I expected more than a regrouping of ideas from other successful games. While its simplistic and fun battle system had me excited for Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy 7 remake, its overly simplistic and uninspired approach leaves nothing to strategize or contemplate. It feels like a stepping stone experience that's already 6 inches below the ground, elevating no one to the heights of what makes the Final Fantasy series memorable. Alright, well that was the bad news, but the good news is, keep coming back for more Trevor Talks, because I'm going to keep putting out reviews. Let me know what you think my next review should be. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
Beautiful beyond words.
That is pretty neat.
Look up.
That's the water's surface.
Wait, what? Does this mean we're underwater? Whoa, there's even fish.
The hell is this place? Huh. Can we truly be submerged?